so you can experience life with God while you're eating an acai bowl.
I'm not a neurosurgeon, not that smart. I forget things. I have 4 kids. They were not buy one, get one.
We go back to set up our tent camping situation.
Nobody explains this phenomenon that you actually have to coach toilet paper quantity.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
The votes are now in. The winning team is Andy.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord.
Us versus them, survival. We must win, it's tribal. My team like Ken, by any means necessary. One head to head with adversaries. Nothing is given, so we gotta take it. It's 4th and inches, so we gotta make it. Can you feel it?
I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord. I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord. Oh
Cedar Creek, welcome to Preach Off number 7. I'm Lauren Snyder here with Luke Shortridge, and we are prepared for an epic showdown between the 2 fiercest, albeit only, teams in the league. The excitement is palpable. We have done our research, so you don't have to. Luke, what are your expectations?
Last year was Andy and Sarah's year, but this year, Ben and Barb are back. I mean, Ben is like the Patrick Mahomes of the Preach Off. This guy just keeps coming back and getting better and better year after year.
You know, I, as Ben's wife, I do have a front row seat to watch Ben, and over this past year, I've seen him grow so much more relevant and oh so much stronger in every single way. Andy, on the other hand, has had a much different year preparing. He actually is fresh back from a total hip replacement surgery. That's a procedure that's typically reserved for people decades older than he is. But I'll tell you what, as I've watched him endure this, I've seen him embrace a more vintage approach to life, and it's something I find endearing. So much so that I'm actually cheering for the poor guy. I never thought I'd see the day, but here we are.
Happy to hear that. Right down the middle, Lauren Snyder.
You know, best I can. So, with all of that in mind, we do need to prevent this from turning into a flash mob in the midst of a tornado, so we need some rules. What are the rules, Luke?
So you, the audience, will be voting on our winner today. Each sermon can score a max of 13 points, 1 point for a catchy bottom line, 1 for a clear next step. We're also looking for a story or an illustration that fits the verse. There's 5 random words that they have to organically weave into their sermon, and then 5 points at your discretion. How do you think the competitors did?
That's right, and it's not what we think about it, it's what you, our audience, decides. You are voting and choosing the winner of today's Preach Off. How do they vote?
You vote through the Cedar Creek app. If you have not already downloaded the Cedar Creek app, you're going to want to do that now. You can scan the QR code around you if you're at one of our physical locations, or you can jump on your app store and search for cedarcreek.tv. After you pull it up, you're going to see a pop-up that says Vote Now. Click that, and as the competition progresses, please get your votes in.
Voting is kind of like choosing pizza toppings. If you forget to do it, you might wind up with pineapple. Oof, nobody likes pineapple. Okay, well, it's time to buckle up, hold on to your hats, put your game faces on. We're sending it down to the field.
He's got a brand new hip, but she's still able to run circles around him. Please welcome Andy and Sarah. Please welcome your home team. He saw his favorite team go to the national championship. She saw her favorite team win it. Please welcome Ben and Barb.
Let's do this. Let's do this. All right, Cedar Creek, how you feeling? Word. My name is Zeke. I am your on-field reporter for Preach Off number 7. 7. Yeah, that's wild. Okay, well, it's not about me. I'm sure you're wondering what's going on in the minds of our teams. Let's find out. Sarah. All right. Last year you won it. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, a little nervous, but we're ready. We've been preparing. I think we're ready to go.
Okay, word. Andy, as you were coming on stage, it looked like you had a little limp. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I got a little excited yesterday during the Saturday service, and I kind of did a little too much. And plus, Ben tried to punch me, and so I had to dodge it. He's violent. He's also my boss. I think that's workplace harassment or abuse or something like that. So if you're looking for somebody to vote for, don't vote for him. Vote for us. Team Sandy, all the way. Go for us. Plus, Chiefs, who wants to, got Eagles, fly birds.
We'll talk to HR about that one. All right. Team Ben, Barb, how are we feeling today?
I'm glad I made it. Andy tried to lock me out backstage so I couldn't come out.
These things actually happen backstage, by the way. All right, and Ben, how are we feeling?
Unlike tonight's game, I'm not sure that the refs are going to be on my side of the ball today, Gabe. Money, okay.
Speaking of refs, let's meet our ref for today. Gabe, come on out here. Everybody give a round of applause for Gabe. All right, this year we have a two-sided coin. We got the Eagles on one side and the Chiefs on the other side. Whatever side it lands on, that team can then choose to receive or defer. Let's go ahead and flip it. Kansas City. What will we do? Receive? All right, they're going to receive it. Up to you, Luke and Lauren.
Thanks, Zeke. In this first quarter, they'll be tackling this verse from Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 5. It says, "And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength." Luke will have some context on this verse right after this.
I have moderate to severe middle age, but that doesn't slow me down. Thanks to Young Again.
Young Again is a suppository treatment for people 40 and up who have a high risk factor for feeling like an outdated bag of meat just waiting to die.
I can stay up past 8.
I don't think about death as much.
I'm 61 years old. Certain risk factors increase your chance of early onset middle age, such as buying your clothes at Costco, if you still have cable, and living in the Midwest.
What's a hot flash? The hair on my back went away.
Watch this.
Ask your doctor if Young Again is right for you. In some clinical trials, patients encountered the rare side effect of a Sasquatch attack. I know, right? We were surprised too. These patients experienced dislocated elbows, broken ribs, Sasquatch bites, spine pounded into dust, legs ripped off, a sudden sense of helplessness, wanting their mommies, skull smashed like a rotten pumpkin, and the waking nightmare of a half-human, half-ape relentlessly pursuing them. In the event of a Sasquatch attack, please stop taking this drug immediately and call your doctor. Young Again. Get that spring back in your step, unless a Sasquatch eats you.
Ben, I am so excited about the idea of staying up past 8 p.m. I'm buying Young Again.
I don't know what a suppository is, and I don't want to find out.
All right, Luke, I'm not going to tell you. Why don't you go ahead, though, and tell us the context on this verse?
Yes, so Deuteronomy was written by Moses. This is one of the first 5 books of the Bible. It's actually the 5th book of the Bible, and it is fundamental to both Christianity and Judaism. And this verse is part of what is known as the Shema. It is a prayer that is done many times by the Jewish people, and it anchors them in the love of God. This is actually a verse that was quoted by Jesus. Jesus summed up all of the law by using this verse and telling people also to love their neighbors as themselves. Love is central to who God is. It is also central to who we should be as God's people. Loving God is a choice, it's a lifestyle, and it's exactly what we are called to do.
Well, I can't wait to see what she's going to do with this verse. She's head and shoulders taller than everyone else in the competition. Would you please put your hands together for Barb Bruce?
Barb Bruce, Bowling Green State University, go Falcons. So Valentine's Day is this week. Oh gosh, Valentine's Day. It's when we want to all feel loved, be loved. Some of us are looking for love. So I've been single again for about 6 years, and I was just getting back into the dating scene. Now, there are a lot of dating apps out there. Where are all my single people at? Yeah, all right. Single Friends Campus, Single Friends, I see you. For those of you who have not been single, there's this thing called dating apps, and basically where you get on there and you just hope. You just hope. And so I actually matched with this nice gentleman. He lived a couple of hours away, which is why I'm telling this story to you today. And so he drove into town, and we had a couple of phone conversations, and he was telling me about himself. And so I get all dressed up, and I'm trying to look pretty cute. I want to make a good first impression, look like my pictures on the app, because that's a thing. So I get to the restaurant, and if you know, you know, friends. I get to the restaurant, and as I'm walking towards the front entrance, friends, I'm about I'm like a 6'1.5", 6'2" Barbie. I mean, that's just who I am. And I love mustard and ketchup. I think other things that I love that I would put into my dating app, I think that Stinger missiles are bad, just things like that. So anyway, so I'm walking to the door, and I turned off my radio so it was on no volume, and I see the guy in front of me. He was not as tall as he said on the dating app. Again, I'm 6'1", 6'2" in heels, and I could see the top of his head. And so I was trying to figure that out. But more distracting was the 130-pound German Shepherd dog that he had with him. Now, it wasn't a doodle, and I love animals, and I love people who have support animals. I just didn't realize that my date was going to include his pet. So we go in, we sit down, and I mean, we're having a nice time. We had ordered a number of tapas, and you know when you're meeting someone, you're trying to make a good first impression. I'm like using my fork and my knife, and there was a point at which they bring out a dish, and it is roasted grapes and feta. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. And he's like, yeah, it's very interesting. And so I'm going to reach for it, and as I'm leaning in, and I'm like, yeah, he feeds me. He puts the grape with the feta in my mouth. And I was like, whoa. And so I'm like chewing, going, what's happening here? And so I was like, oh, and so I went to say, he puts another one in my mouth. And I was like, whoa. And I don't know if you've ever been in an awkward moment like that when someone does something and you got a catalog of things you may do to them in your head. And like things such as make a scene, punch them in the face. It was rough. So I just stood there and I took a deep breath because we had both been through a lot. We had both been married for a long time, and we had both lost marriages, and we had both lost love. And in that moment, I had to think through, what is it? How could I take a step toward God? In the book of Deuteronomy, there's just this beautiful wisdom and a reminder as we think about what it looks like for us to honor God and how that impacts our relationships with others. You must love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. Loving God is a full body experience. It's where we lean into God with every breath we take, every thought we have, every action. What we know about God influences how we feel and how we interact with others. And so as I was standing there with him in that moment, and I did want to represent Jesus, I was going, okay, what would be the thing that I could do? for two people who wanted to find love, and I don't know if things are going to work out. And so what occurred to me is also your bottom line. Be kind because God is kind to you. You see, when we love God with all of our heart, all of our mind, all of our soul, and all of our strength, the natural manifestation of that is going to be kindness. And it's not just being nice. Kindness is actually a fruit of the Spirit. It is actually the outward manifestation of God in you. And so today, your next step is maybe tonight at a Super Bowl party, if somebody's getting on your nerves or driving you crazy, be kind because God has been kind to you. Or maybe when you're out and about at the store, we could use more of the love and kindness of Christ in our world.
Okay, so we're going to take this back real quick. You said he was feeding you roasted grapes and feta, correct?
Yes.
Question is, was there a second date?
No.
Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Oh, Barb, you get the ball to her, and she's going to score, and that is just what she did. Awesome job, Barb. What'd you think?
Barb showed her vulnerability, loved her story, definitely memorable. I am not going to be feeding my wife anytime soon. Very practical learning there. Catchy, bottom line, be kind because God is kind to you. Her next step, didn't outthink the room, be kind. Random words, Barbie, stinger, volume, doodle. Now, the ref got a little buzz happy on ketchup. I gave it to her, but will the audience? That is the question.
That's right, audience, you get to vote. And while you're voting, we have some endorsements. And in a bit of a twist on endorsements this year, the team captains actually had an opportunity to curate endorsements and to choose the ones that really represent their own persona, their brand, their own spirit. And up first is Andy, that team captain from Team Andy. And the product that Andy first chose to endorse is The Price is Right. Here's what Andy has to say about The Price is Right. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
It's taking a long time.
It sounded a little better in my shower when I practiced. Okay, anyway, Andy, I just want to say thank you for taking us back to the sound of a sick day back in the late 1900s. And with that, we're going to move into the verse for the next quarter. The verse is from John chapter 1, verse 14. It says, "So the Word became human and made his home among us. He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness, and we have seen his glory, the glory of the Father's one and only Son." We'll have some context on that from Luke right after this.
Are you a man of few words? Do you struggle to communicate? Scratch. From the maker of Fido Speaks, now introducing He Speaks. The new state-of-the-art communication buttons that'll have you conversing like never before. It's a modern translator for the modern man. It's never been this simple to communicate. Snack. Really? He Speaks is effective even during a crisis.
Toilet paper. Toilet paper. Toilet paper. Toilet, 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 toilet paper. Remote. Sports.
You want the remote so you can watch the game.
Remote.
Now introducing She Speaks, button communication for women.
Remote. Sports.
Get it yourself.
He Speaks, She Speaks.
Sexy time?
Keep talking.
My mind is blown that they were able to get She Speaks down to 273 buttons.
I have one button, and it says, "I'll never doubt you again until the next time."
You're a funny one, Luke. Okay, hey, can you please give us the context on this verse?
Yes, so this was written by John, not John the Baptist, but John the Apostle. And here he kind of almost harkens back to Genesis. If you remember, God created the world through his words. He spoke the world into existence. And here truth becomes a person. The Logos, or the Word, becomes actual flesh in the person of Jesus Christ. Jesus exemplified truth. Truth was not just a concept. Truth was a person. And we see here again that same word for dwelt that is used in the Septuagint, and it means tabernacle. It is hanging out, having a relationship with God. Christ became the perfect teacher, the perfect example, and the perfect sacrifice.
Wow. Well, she's not just an elite preacher, she's also an elite human being. Would you please give it up for Sarah Bucher?
Sarah Bucher, Bowling Green State University, talons up. All right. So when my husband and I were first married, he was in the Marine Corps, and we were stationed in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And I have only lived here. I'm a Midwest gal, so I took a voyage down to North Carolina. And on this quest, here's what I discovered. The critters in North Carolina are different than the critters in Ohio. You're not ghosted by them. They're very visible in your life. I remember one time we were walking through like a Metro Park or something. It was super luminous, it was beautiful out, and there was a sign, no joke, the sign said, "Beware of snake." Maybe that's how they write signs, but it didn't say snakes, it said snake, singular. So I'm expecting this like massive, crazy snake. Like, this is the situation I'm living in. You're like doing Olympics all day long, trying to figure out what you're gonna run into, right? So these critters, not only were they different, but they were everywhere, in part because our apartment was on the ground floor. So we would get spiders all the time. Barb, you like spiders, right? So I don't know how they got in, truly. I don't know how they got in. This one day, I go to the bathroom, and in the corner, right by the toilet, is this monster of a spider. I mean, this spider had a purpose in life. It was ridiculous. Clearly, I'm not gonna kill it, right? And you can't like leave the room, right? Because then you leave the room and you come back and the spider's gone. And then you have to move. Like, what are you gonna do? So I did what any new bride does. I called my hubby and I said, "Hi, I need you to come home because there's this crazy spider in the bathroom." And he said, "You want me to tell my command that I have to leave base and drive home because my wife needs me to kill a spider?" Yes, I'm sorry. I don't understand. Absolutely. Well, he didn't do it. Brett Andrew, do you remember this story? So I did the next best thing, and I called the office. I called the apartment complex, and I said, "Hi, I need someone to come here and kill this spider." So they sent a nice little maintenance gentleman, and he came down, and he went in, and he took care of business, and then he disposed of the body, because you always need to see that, right? You need to see it leave. And I'll never forget, he looks at me, and he said, "Ma'am, you did the right thing." He said, "That was a very poisonous spider. That would have hurt you. That would have hurt your little puppy dog. Like, well done. Well done." So sometimes you need a little help. And I know we laugh at spiders, and nobody likes spiders, but there are things in our life that we don't always want to deal with. There's stuff that's hard. I bet some of you right here are facing something that's really hard. Maybe something nobody else knows about. And sometimes it's hard to just take the next step. But I've got encouragement for you today. It's from the book of John. It says, "So the Word became human and made his home among us." That's Jesus. "He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness, and we have seen his glory, the glory of the Father's one and only Son." Here's the thing, friends. No matter what you're facing, no matter what your spider is, your bottom line today is seeing God changes everything. It changes everything. when you can have that God-sized perspective, that God-sized vision, all of a sudden things that maybe seemed so hard or so complicated or so insanely impossible, all of a sudden become possible. Because when we see him, it changes everything. So how do we see him? Your next step today is to spend time in the Word, the Bible, because it is alive and it's active and it will show you who Jesus is. So when you open it up, ask God to reveal himself to you. Ask him to show you how he's going to show up for you and change a situation that seems so insane. He's going to redeem it for good because he's with you, because he loves you, because he sees you and he cares about what you care about. So spend some time in his word, because seeing God, it changes everything.
Okay. Well done. We like it. All right, so a lot of people don't understand how tough it is to be on stage. What is the hardest part about Preach Off for you?
Probably the hardest part is the words. Fitting in those words is tricky business.
Okay. Was tricky business?
Tricky business.
I just want to make sure she said that right. All right, back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Well, Sarah took us on a wild and momentous ride. She called it tricky business. Luke, what'd you think?
Sarah did great, memorable story. I mean, who hasn't called their husband to kill a spider? It was a great story, very memorable. Her bottom line, seeing God changes everything. It certainly does. Next step, spend time in the Word. Love that. Her random words, Voyage, North Carolina, I gave her that. Quest, Ghosted, Luminous. The only one I wasn't sure about was Olympics. She said all day long, Olympics. I mean, it's a phrase, but I don't really know if it fit in the sermon. Overall, Sarah did a phenomenal job. I will say I am getting word that over 700 people have voted already so far. So our webpage is experiencing a little bit of traffic. It's still working, running a little bit of slow. Keep trying to get those votes in.
That's right. You have an important role to play in today. Keep trying that voting. Don't quit. Get your votes in and make them count. Hey, we have another endorsement, and this time it's coming from our team captain, Ben. And Luke, I can tell you that Ben was absolutely inundated with endorsement opportunities, products, brands, companies. Ben, please endorse us, please endorse us. And he had to sift through all of them to try to find the ones that truly embodied his capable, manly, creative, good-looking, adventurous, kind,
That's 7 adjectives.
Generous.
That's too much.
Did I say good-looking? That just truly embodied his spirit. And the first product that Ben selected was, well, it's no surprise, Jeep. Here's what Ben has to say about Jeep. Go anywhere. Do anything. Ben, I can't wait to do that with you later. Okay, well, friends, be sure not to blink. We got a lot of fun coming for you. It is time for the halftime.
Y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the no. Here comes the oh. Here comes the y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the no. Here comes the oh. Here comes the. And I know she'll be the death of me, at least we'll both be known. She always gets the best of me, the worst is yet to come. But at least we'll both be beautiful and stay forever young. This I know, yeah, this I know. She told me don't worry about it. She told me don't worry no more. We both know we can't go without it. She told me you'll never be alone. I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh. She told me don't worry about it. She told me don't worry no more. We both know we can't go without it. She told me you'll never be alone. I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh. She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus and America too. She's a good girl, crazy about Elvis, loves horses and a boyfriend too, yeah. And it's a long day living in Reseda. There's a freeway running through the yard, and I'm a bad boy, so don't even miss her. And I'm a bad boy for breaking her heart. And I'm free. I'm free falling. Yeah, I'm free. I'm free falling, falling. Yeah, I'm free. I'm free falling. Yeah. Free falling. Yeah, I'm free. Free falling, free falling.
Ooh, you feel it? Yeah, you got chills because this song brought generations together. Let me see those flashlights, people. Here we go.
Set up high, I'm strong enough to take these dreams
make them mine. So let's go there. Ooh, we all look good. Let's go there. Come on, let's go there. Let's ask and we stay.
Wow, ending on Creed takes me right back to 1999, the year I first met Ben.
I just had visions of frosted tips, shell necklaces, and bad decisions.
The good old days. All right, Luke, we have had quite a preach-off so far. We're only about halfway through, though. How are things shaping up with the score?
Hundreds and hundreds have voted. At this point, some people have had trouble getting their votes in, but many were successful. It is a close match. I think we are ready to reveal the halftime score. So far, Team Andy is slightly ahead than Team Ben, but it's still anybody's game.
It sure is. But before we go any further, we do have another endorsement. And this one, that's right, we are back to Andy. Andy, I mean, again, he had just like this vintage spirit, bygone eras, the endorsements that he selected. And the endorsement that he picked next is for Toys R Us. Here's what Andy has to say. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. From bikes to trains to video games, it's the biggest toy store there was. I don't want to grow up, because maybe if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid.
That made me sad and frustrated.
Well, Andy, I just want you to know that I admire your commitment to not growing up. Okay, well, we are going to head into the third quarter, and as we do that, the team will be tackling this verse from Romans 5, verse 5. It says, "And this hope will not lead to disappointment, for we know how dearly God loves us, because he has given us the Holy Spirit to fill our hearts with his love." We'll have some context on this verse right after this.
If you're like me, you've had the moment where you've said one thing, but they heard something totally different. Like when you say to a friend, "I don't have a lot of time to help you right now." But what they walk away hearing is, "We aren't friends anymore." Or a coworker says to you, "Overall, really good, but I think there are a few areas to update." And you heard, "You're doing a terrible job and we have to fix everything." We all have an example of how this happens, and if we're being honest, it happens most often with the people closest to us. See, it's not just what's said, it's also about what's heard. So let's talk about how to improve all of our relationships with our series, I Said This, You Heard That.
So in preparation for this series, Ben and I both took the I Said This, You Heard That assessment. And Luke, we found out we are both Reds, which means there's a whole lot of fire in our lives. Sometimes that can lead to some amazing fireworks, and other times can leave somebody feeling a little burned. Not always great, but lots and lots of good. Did you take the assessment? What'd you learn?
I did. I am the color yellow, which is the color of cowards and butter.
It is indeed. Okay. So if you haven't taken the assessment yet, it is on our app. Make sure you take it and then come back and join us for the series that starts next week. Can't wait. All right, the other thing I can't wait for is your context, Luke. What's this verse all about?
All right, so this is from Paul's letter to the Romans, and the Romans needed a little bit of encouragement. The church was going through some difficulties, and they needed to really focus on hope. And what hope is that? Previously, Paul talks about some of the trials and problems that they experienced, but all of this led to endurance. When we face difficulties in our lives, it's important to ground ourselves on the hope of Jesus Christ, because we do have real hope for salvation, for the life to come, and a plan and a purpose for the life that we are in now.
Well, he's the guy I want carrying my mail every single time. Friends, would you let him hear all your cheers? It's Ben Snyder.
Ben Snyder, the University of Toledo, go Rockets. Have you ever received a text message that just made your heart stop? My wife and I were taking a trip earlier this year, the two of us, and Lauren, all of this spicy talk makes me want to take another trip with you right now. But that aside, with 4 kids, we were looking forward to a little away time, just the two of us. It was going to be gravy, okay? I was excited. So we landed, and what you normally do when you land is you turn on your cell phone service, because we're in a cell phone era where you need to make sure you're up to date with all of your latest notifications. And I get a text message from my son. In the bubble, I read, "Dad, I made a mistake. I wanted to see how sharp the hatchet was." Yeah. That's all I could read in the notification. You ever had that moment where time just slows down? You're like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. All sorts of random things can go through your mind. You're wondering, is somebody dead? Is a cucumber involved? I mean, is there something more significant that I should be paying attention to? Is this a rerun of Twilight's? I mean, I want to gouge out my eyeballs. You know, if that's the case, what is it, Sam? So I open up the text message, and it says, "Dad, I made a mistake. I wanted to see how sharp the hatchet was, so I decided to cut an apple." I'm like, okay. Quote, or open parentheses, "dumb idea," close parentheses. I'm like, well, what else was involved? You know, you're like trying to take all of this in. I decided not to use a cutting board because I didn't want to mark the cutting board, open parentheses, dumb reasoning, close parentheses. So I used a paper plate instead. Vibrant idea, Sam, vibrant idea. So I marked your new countertop. Please don't be mad at me. Hope this doesn't ruin your trip. Like, I don't have pictures of the countertop at this point. We had just had our kitchen remodeled like less than a year ago, and I'm sitting here going, okay, he is 15. I did stupid things when I'm 15, but we just landed. Like, we just got here, and this is the first text message that I saw. I'm glad it's not a hand or a finger or a limb or one of our siblings that was on the counter. Okay, it's like, okay, whew, that's good. And, you know, you're trying to cycle through all of your responses in this situation. And I think sometimes I could picture Sam carrying all of this regret. Like what initially looked like something really cool has turned into something like, oh my goodness, and he can't take it back. Which I feel like, I don't know your journey, and I don't know what brought you today, but I feel like that's how a lot of people feel about God. It's like you do life, and what you thought was a really good idea turned into a mess, something you didn't anticipate. Open parentheses, dumb idea, close parentheses. And you're like, what we need is a reminder of who God really is. Like, he is for you. He is with you. He sees so much more than you can see. That's what this verse reminds us of, is that we have hope in him. And this hope will not lead to disappointment from him to you. No, we know how dearly God loves each of us because he has given us the Holy Spirit to fill our hearts with his love. Like, this is a promise from your heavenly Father. And so I don't know what picture you have in your mind of who God is, but the Bible reminds us, Jesus teaches, the first century pastors knew that God is crazy about you. And he can see the whole picture of what he can do. So your bottom line is, don't let the whole problem, H-O-L-E, distract you from God's whole picture. and what he can do in your life. Yes, you may be focused on a problem today, a mistake that you've made, a past that you want to get away from, some hurt that you've been carrying your whole life, but God can see the whole picture, and it's not going to lead to some disappointment. No, he has a future for you, full of his Spirit, full of purpose, full of his hope, and where we experience that is when we open our heart to the truth of him. And that's your next step, is that you would open your heart to him. You see, what I'm so impressed with my son about is that he was honest with me. He could have hid it. He could have run away, but instead he opened up and was honest about the mistake that he made. He didn't let the whole problem mess up the whole picture.
I like it. Okay, so I actually want to take us back to the color assessment. Okay, I heard Lauren mention that you were red. Can you explain what red is for everybody?
Red speaks the language of like power and wanting to get things done.
Okay, I took the color assessment as well, and to nobody's surprise, I'm black. Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Oh, Zeke, you're a funny one. I like that. But you know what else I like? Ben Snyder. He was electrifying, truly cream of the crop. Luke, what'd you think?
Ben crushed it. Super strong performance. Love the story. Hope he got permission from Sam.
Totally, he did.
We are thankful that Ben responded as he did. We loved his bottom line. Don't let the whole problem distract you from God's whole picture. Clear next step. Open your heart to God. Gravy, era, cucumber, twilight, vibrant. Nailed his words, nailed his sermon. Great job, Ben Snyder.
So good. And actually, we have another endorsement coming from Ben right now. Okay, this next endorsement, Team Captain Ben, the next endorsement is from the Hot Sauce of the Month Club. Here's what Ben has to say about it. You want to make every month extraordinary? This is the subscription that won't disappoint. Well, friends, you can order the box, but Ben's my hot sauce of the month. All right, well, we are heading into the fourth quarter, and the verse that will be tackled is Psalm 13, verse 5. It says, "But I trust in your unfailing love. I will rejoice because you have rescued me." Luke's going to have some context for us in just a minute.
Chicken wrap for the lady, Limburger cheeseburger for you, sir.
Smells like you need a better body wash. Introducing Suave 16-in-1. Forget that 3-in-1 good-for-nothing crap. You need a product that you can do it all. Body wash, shampoo, conditioner, and lotion? But wait, there's more. Much more. Deodorant that lasts all day. Shaving cream. Toothpaste. Sunscreen. SPF 30. Mouthwash. Chapstick. Contact solution. Drano. Hemorrhoid cream. Cocktail mixer. Multi-surface cleaner. The icing on the cake. It's a condiment. Suave 16-in-1. It's about time.
Now I understand why the people at the gym were brushing their armpits with their toothbrush.
What in the name of Ephesians 4:29 was that? I mean, even Lizzo thought that was in poor taste.
Okay, all right, can we have the context?
Yes, we can. So, this verse comes from Psalm 13. It is a psalm of David. David wrote 73, at least, of the 150 psalms, and theme of his life was regular despair. He sometimes had despair because of circumstances that happened to him. Sometimes it was things that he had done, but either way, God rescued him. In the Psalms, he has no problems calling out when he is in trouble because he knows that God is listening, God is there. And in this psalm, he remembers that God has already rescued him. Of course, God will come through. When we have difficulties and struggles in our lives, God is there for us each and every step of the way.
That's right. Now, in his mind, he's slashing and dashing. Let's be kind and not tell him the truth. Golf claps for Andy Rechtenwald.
Andy Rechtenwald, University of Toledo. Go Rockets. I am a lifelong Eagles fan, It's exciting for me. I've been a lifelong Eagles fan for about 4 weeks. Don't get too excited. I have never really been that into the NFL. My family are Penn State fans. That's what we are. We root for Penn State football. There's 2 of you here, and some of you are booing. I don't know why you're booing. We haven't done anything to you. We just fail every year. It's what we do. Right? Yeah, so anyway, I'm actually wearing the socks. I got Penn State socks on today. This is just me. I'm a Penn State fan. But anyway, my brother and I decided last year with the help of our wives and our kids that we were going to become football, NFL fans. We chose the Tennessee Titans. Worst decision I've ever made. And so at the end of this year, after Penn State lost to Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl, and I was disappointed, my kids were disappointed, my brother and I were disappointed, we texted, he goes, we need to pick a winning team. This is getting so old. Let's choose Dad's favorite team. Let's pick the Eagles. We bandwagon for sure. I'm no shame about that at all. We definitely bandwagon. We took the Tennessee Titans on a proverbial spatula and flipped them into the trash can and became Eagles fans. That's what we did. I need a ding there, man. Come on, work on it. Let's go, dude. Refs and the Chiefs. It's just how it works. I'm hoping for a radiant, absolute amazing game tonight when the Eagles win. But that being aside, just when that game happened, my daughter and my son were very disappointed. The next night, or a couple nights later, we're driving home from my in-laws, and I tell them, hey, do you want to go over to Matt and Heather's house and see your friends the day of the big game where Ohio State and Notre Dame were playing? And they said yes. And I said, great, but they're Notre Dame fans. And my daughter goes, I know. These are her best friends. I know, but I'm rooting for Ohio State, which is fine because I root for Big Ten. That's kind of my thing. Michigan, Ohio State doesn't bother me because we get beat by them anyway, so it doesn't bother me at all. Just what happens when you're a Penn State fan. Anyway, and I look at her, I'm like, hey, your friends, they're all Notre Dame fans. They're big Notre Dame fans. And she goes, I know. But when they beat us, they ripped out our souls. I want to rip theirs. That's how she said it. Now, Ruby's here, and she's a sweetheart. She is a doll, but something came out of her that night. And I said, but Ohio State beat us too. They do every year. And then my son goes, yeah, but they didn't knock us out of the 12 team. And I'm like, how do you guys, what is going on here? So the day of the game comes. We couldn't go over to their house because there was some illness, which is not a surprise. When you have kids, you're always sick. So we watched the game. My daughter paid attention to every single play. Every single play. She didn't know what was going on half the time. Like when Ohio State punted one time, she said, is that good for us? And I stopped and I was like, listen, sweetheart, there is no us. We're rooting for them, but we are not them. I'm sorry to disappoint you. You're going to be a Penn State fan. This is just the way it works. Any ember of hope you had to be a winner in sports, you got Cleveland Guardians and Penn State Nittany Lions. It's not going to happen. What just happened? Everybody's going, oh, what's going on? You're tricking me. Anyway, any hope that you had, that you were going to get to the end of the season, it was going to be a Rizzler of a season, right? Is gone. It's gone. The refs again. I'm going to take a haircut on this one. It's gone. So she's watching the whole thing. She's all getting into it. At one point, I'm like, this is dangerous. I can't love Ohio State, love Big Ten, all that stuff. Fans, you're great. I can't have that in the house. I just can't have an Ohio State fan as a daughter. My wife at one point, because she was against me for some reason, says, Ruby, if you want to be an Ohio State fan, you can. I look at her like, you need to get out. What are you doing here? This is not how this works. We are losers. This is how it works. Ohio State won that game. Ruby was very happy. She even texted her friend and talked some smack to her. It wasn't great smack talk, but she's trying. And as I was watching this game, I was super excited for my daughter. I was, because she actually got amped up. And sports can be fun, but sports can also let you down. They really can. Sports can also let you down. In fact, so many areas of life can let you down. So many different areas in your life, hopes and dreams that you might have. And sports are sports, and you're going to be disappointed, but there's always another year. There's always another year where Penn State will get close enough to fail and all that kind of stuff. But there's and I know this, been a pastor for over 13 years now, depending on who you ask. I know that many of you are facing areas of life where you're disappointed. And the invitation from God throughout the text, throughout the New Testament and Old Testament, like we're reading today, is to do what? Is to trust. It's to trust. Specifically and especially when it's hard to. In what? In God's unfailing love. Why? Because we will rejoice because you have what? Rescued me from the disappointments in life. Your bottom line for today is that you, all of you, each of you have been set free to live free. So what are the areas of your life you need to live in freedom? Identify those and trust in God's unfailing love.
All right, so as Sarah mentioned, the words are the hardest part of the game. So Rizzler, you want to talk about it?
Sure. So here's what happened.
Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Well played, Zeke. And Andy, I want to be sure to speak to your vintage approach to life. And so I've been trying to think, what would my grandparents say? Gee willikers, Andy, you're the cat's pajamas, the bee's knees. I think you're swell. What'd you think, Luke?
Overall, Andy did very well. Seemed a little attached to the ref and what was happening back there. But overall, Andy gave a compelling story. Sweet little Ruby who wanted to rip out their souls. Catchy bottom line. He got at the very end. You have been set free to live free. Clear next step. Trust in God's unfailing love. His random words, spatula, radiant, ember, and haircut. He got the only question I have then is Rizzler of a season. Don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure that's not the correct usage of it. So for those of you who are trying to vote, we understand that there are some difficulty voting. We have had many people voting here. And if you are struggling to get the webpage to load, you can text either Andy or Ben to our famous number, 419-419-0707. Just send us the name of the team that you want to win. Get your votes in right now. The power really shifts to you.
So really, they just need to text in Ben to 419-409-0707.
Or
right?
Andy, depending on which team they think did better.
Okay, great. It's kind of fun to be part of breaking the internet, I think. All right, so the votes are still coming in. Get those in. And we have some exciting things happening right here at Cedar Creek. We don't want you to miss them. Check this out.
How are you going to spend 2025? Are you going to do the same thing you've always done? Or are you going to go on a new adventure? What if you gave us 1 year and pushed yourself, got outside your comfort zone, helped other people, went somewhere extraordinary? What if you discovered what God wants for your life? There's no limit to what 2025 can look like for you. Don't miss this year at Cedar Creek.
2025 is an incredible time to be part of Cedar Creek Church. This fall, we will celebrate our 30-year anniversary. I can't believe it. I can't wait. What's so special about that for you, Luke?
Oh my gosh, 30 years. I was lucky enough to be a part of the church when it began. I was 13 years old, and 30 years has flown by. The good part is truly, we are just getting started.
That's right. And this year we have designated as a year of response, a year of being aware of what God is doing in us and through us and being ready to respond and go where He calls us. So much happening. We're so glad that you're part of this. And we have a final endorsement. This one comes from Andy again. And Andy, he wanted to bring back a crowd favorite. And in the words of Andy, here's what he has to say. Oh, I'd love to be an Oscar Mayer wiener. That is what I truly love to be. But if I were an Oscar Mayer wiener, everyone would be in love with me.
These are not a thing.
Andy, you keep shooting for the stars. All right, we're still counting the votes. We'll have some more exciting news for you right after this.
At Uber Eats, their slogan is get almost anything. Lame. Here at DoorDash, get literally anything using Double Dash. Simply order your craving, then add literally anything else you want. Both orders arrive together with the same dasher for no additional fees. Whether it's some suave 16-in-1, late night snacks, or whatever the freak you want but don't need. Chick-fil-A and a face tat? My pleasure. Sushi and a minimally invasive surgery? No, that's a great Friday night. Burger, fries, and a body piercing? Have it your way. Chinese takeout and a certified dog adoption? Treat yourself. Taco Bell and a brand? Live Moscow, girl. DoorDash, Double Dash. The easiest way to make life's important decisions on an impulsive whim.
That's a surefire way to land yourself in a heap of regrets.
Can I get a corned beef hash and a colonoscopy?
That's disgusting.
I think they'll go together well.
Okay, Can you give us a recap of the game?
Yes, so we've had some great bottom lines. If you have been journeying with us, you have heard Barb give us, be kind because God is kind to you. Sarah said, seeing God changes everything. Ben gave us, don't let the whole problem distract you from God's whole picture. And Andy gave us, you have been set free to live free. Can we give it up one more time for all of our contestants?
They have all done amazing, and I think we can all agree that Ben is at the peak of his preaching game, and Andy, well, you're the daddy-o of the sock hop. So let's kick it back to the field and find out who the winner is.
Word, come on back, here we go. All right, well, you voted. The votes are in. So let's find out who Preach Off number 7, the winner, is. Let's see. It is Team Ben. Barb, how are we feeling?
We are feeling great. Thank you, everyone, for voting and for being here.
All right, Ben, back on top. Got to feel good, right?
Yeah, it feels great, Andy. Thanks for showing me what it feels like to be a real winner.
Well, we want to thank you all for joining us, but don't go anywhere yet. We have a few words from our lead pastor, Ben.
Did you have fun? Man, I hope you did. I'm so proud of our team, and I've had dozens of conversations. Those verses we don't know, and the words. What we do is we prepare a handful of stories that we hope works with the verse. And it really is an interesting experience up here where it's like improv meets preaching around subjects that we really care about, because we really do care about you hearing the Bible taught in relevant ways. I think Andy is the only one who authentically loves every aspect of this. The rest of us have a love-hate relationship with it. We kind of like it, and it freaks us out all at the same time, but I'm really proud of the team and the way that they can walk in and deliver a message on the fly like that. And if you're wondering, like, why do we go through this? Why do we do this? I imagine there are some of you here for the first time, like, this is a lot. Well, there are two reasons. God's mission and God's heart. First, his mission. Jesus' last words are our first priority. Jesus, one of the final things that he said is go and make disciples. In other words, go and introduce people to Jesus and the life-changing adventure with him. Those last words shape our top priority. And what that means is that we need to go. We need to go to new places to reach new people. And places does refer to physical locations, which we care about, but it also means to try new things to reach people that no one else is reaching. And I'm convinced that people aren't tired of Jesus and the message that he has for them. I just think people get tired of the overused and boring ways that Jesus is talked about. And so Preach Off really forces us to think of fresh ways to talk about the spiritual journey in a way that hopefully captures a little bit of your attention. And I think one of the tools for that reflects God's heart is humor. I think as Christians, sometimes we can get so serious about life that we forget to laugh, to experience his joy. There is something about humor that begins to break down some of the bitterness and barriers that we build up in our life, and it can actually open our heart to something more or to the people around us. And here's the challenge. I get it. You didn't laugh at every commercial. You might not have liked every joke. That's actually normal. That's what comes with humor. It's a little risky. I don't expect you to laugh at everything, but I am convinced that laughter is a gift from God. It's a reflection of his heart for you. Like he delights in you. He wants you full of his joy. And my favorite part is sitting up here watching you all laugh during the commercials. It's amazing. And so this weekend is an invitation for you to not have to take life so seriously and to take laughter as seriously as God does by human-sizing our expectations and remembering that with God, life is so much more joyful and peaceful. I mean, our hope is that you would be responsive to God this year, that you would pay attention to Him, that you would give us a year, and I think it would change your life. I've seen story after story of people trying this for a year, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe, no matter what you've done. We see in Jesus a God who pursues us out of love and joy. And so He invites us to experience life with Him. So if you want more purpose and more joy and more encouragement in your life, give this a year with us. Journey with us for a year. And next Super Bowl, you'll look back and you'll be like, wow. Here's one of the things that's coming up. Next week, we kick off this series that's called I Said This, You Heard That. Jesus' teachings revolve around two things, loving God and loving others. And most of the New Testament is about that. And we talk a lot about loving God. I mean, that's what you're supposed to talk about at church. But what we don't always remember is one of the ways to grow in our loving of God is learning how to love others. And yes, we hear we should love others, but how do we learn how to do that in a complicated world? That's what this series is all about. We're going to look at practical ways with the words that you use that you can speak encouragement, hope, and love to your family, to your coworkers, to your neighbors, to strangers. And we'll give you some specific practices that'll help. And one of the tools that's going to help that is by understanding your wiring or your temperament. And so we have this free assessment for you to take. Go through it. It takes a few minutes. You'll get a snapshot of who you are, and then you're going to learn the people around you, and it's going to help you speak life and encouragement to them. After this series, heading into Easter, we're going to look at some poignant moments in Jesus' life and how those moments 2,000 years ago can influence our life today. I mean, ultimately, our hope is that you would sense God's presence, His power, and His purpose in your life. Like God is with you. He is for you. He is closer than you know. And He loves making you and making life more than you could ever make it on your own. So I want to invite you just for a moment to join with us in connecting our hearts to God, to the one who will provide, to the one who is for you. That's what we do when we sing. And you may not know the song, so just pay attention to the lyrics. But if you do, would you sing it as if you're singing to God Himself as we remember that the Lord will provide? I'm going to invite you, those of you at our physical locations, to stand to your feet as we prepare to sing back to God a reminder of who He is to us.
Look at the flowers
Did you guys have a good time today? We serve a God of fun. We serve a God of humor, and He will provide. Thank you so much for joining us for Preach Off number 7, 2025. We hope you had as much fun enjoying it as we did putting it on. And next week, as we talked about, brand new series. I said this, you heard that. If you have not already, I want you to go ahead and download and take that assessment. That is going to help you next week as you receive the content. We're going to talk about your relationships and your communication. You're not going to want to miss it. We're also going to keep the party going. We have some hot dogs available in the South Atrium. There's also blow-ups for the kids. So as you exit, turn right if you want to enjoy that. All of that is down by the South Atrium. If you brought kids, please pick them up before going to the food line. That would help us quite a bit. Thanks. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Have a great week.